the humanitarian crisis, all the other kinds of crises, the whole situation that is coming to a boiling point, or if it hasn't already come to a boiling point in Palestine. A lot is happening, and before I even go towards that, I'd like to discuss all of the different aspects of it, starting with the International Court of Justice, with my guest who is here with me in the studios, Nader Alturk, Deputy Head of Mission, Embassy of the State of Palestine to Pakistan. Thank you very much, Brother Nader, to have joined us. I'd like to begin with the ICJ. It is hearing a very historic hearing into Israel's occupation of the Palestinian territories since 1967. In your point of view, what could be the possible outcome? Because Palestine, of course, presented its case today.
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks a lot, Batar, for giving me the opportunity to be your guest tonight. Actually, the important of that is we going to reactivate the international resolution created by General Assembly of United Nations in 2012, number 6719, which accept Palestine as a membership of as a state in General Assembly of United Nations. It is observer membership, but later on we are optimistic it's going to become a full membership. So the importance of this, that if they recognize and accept that Israel's occupation and activate that according to international it is not legal and it needs to be end according to 242 resolution in 1967, which speaks that the Israelis need to withdraw their army out of the occupied territories occupied in 1967, which is West Bank, Gaza Strip, include Jerusalem. So if we are succeeding that's going to lead us to recognizing a state of Palestine as independent, free state with Jerusalem at its capital. This is what we are willing from ICJ in the future and from the international society to be indeed bear on the ground as soon as possible. To end our misery life as a Palestinians, we are the only people on the world still under occupation since more than 75 years until now.
Mr. Riyad al-Maliki today, when he was presenting Palestine's case in the International Court of Justice, presented 5 different maps of the state of Palestine, beginning with the very first to the second of 1947 and the last one that Netanyahu presented of Middle East, in which there is no state of Palestine. We see the dastardly evolution of these maps as per the Israeli concept. How important was it to for Palestine to present its case as well as far as the maps are concerned?
You know, before a few years I was your guest. The problem which you are facing with the Israelis, that they are ignore the Palestinians people as a people. Golda Meir started that before. She said there is no people of Palestine, okay, but she was recognized herself, okay, that introduced herself that I am Palestinian, because she was immigrated to Palestine before 1948 during the British occupation to Palestine. But on the other hand, she was not recognizing there is Palestinian people. Later on, after that, they start speaking there is Palestinian people, but there is no Palestinian state. Later on, when we go to Oslo agreements, they start speak about getting 2-state solution, and there is people of Palestine, there is PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, as a leader and representative of Palestinians, and on the other hand, it's going to be a state of Palestine. So we are succeed to take by step to make them. But Netanyahu actually, he is using old tools for the modern history. This is the problem of Mr. Netanyahu. And actually, this has reminded me of something very important. George Bush Jr., he was warning Palestinian leadership that no one has the right to question the legality of the state of Israel. Actually, right now, Mr. Netanyahu is questioning the legality of Israel by himself when he speaks about he is not accepting the process which right now the international society starts to speak about 2-state solution on the historical land of Palestine, and he said he will not accept and literal regularization of the state of Palestine without getting negotiation with Israel and Israel, except that things. The question this need ask for what the discuss and question the Israeli side according to that. Balfour Declaration, it was taken from one side, not from two sides. This was taken by the British side, where they promised the Jew to have a state or have a state on the land of Palestinian territories. In that time, even that time, Palestine was still part of Ottoman's empire, Ottoman's Khilafah. Second, 181 resolution which divided Palestine for two states without asking the opinion of the Palestinians, who are actually the original people of the land of Palestine since 12,000 years until now. No one asked our opinion about that. They take the decision by international society without asking our opinion, and they establishing the state of Israel and give them 56% of the land, but Israel is occupied in that was in 1947, and the Israelis occupied in 1948 78% of the land. So Mr. Netanyahu, before he asked and ignoring the international society willing to have a state of Palestine, he need to ask him how his state was establishing on the land of Palestine. If he discussed the state of Palestine, we need to discuss the legality of the establishing of the state of Israel of Palestinian territories. So this is the case right now. If we start discussing that, we're going to discuss that.
Where lies the importance of the United Nations? We have all seen how the Israeli side has tried to undermine the importance of even the United Nations Secretary General by asking him to step down. This happened a couple of weeks back, and we discussed that in a previous show as well. Which organization's role becomes more important as far as giving the right to the people of Palestine, their due right to rid its land of colonialism and apartheid, of genocide that is happening? Is it the United Nations? Is it some other organization? Is it a particular country? Is it a group of countries? Who should you look towards?
First of all, we are looking for United Nations, because who's creating the problem of Palestine is United Nations. When they are taking the resolution 181 and decide to divide Palestinians' territories, Palestinian homeland for two states, 56% for the Israelis, 44% for the Palestinians, they create the problem by creating the state of Israel. So according to that, they need to take their responsibilities and their duties to make the Palestinian state appear on the ground according to all the international laws, according to all international resolutions. This is first. Second, international society need to have the power, need to have the courage to question the Israelis' occupation, which is illegal, and decide to end this occupation once forever by establishing a state of Palestine with Jerusalem at its capital and facilitate the right of return of Palestinian refugees according to international resolution, United Nations Resolution 194. This is what is needed. First of all, we need to insist the Americans to stop use the veto illegally to support blindly the Israelis in their crimes against humanity, in their genocide, in their apartheid system, and all their crimes against the Palestinians. They run away with it according to American blindly support and Americans' veto. This is need to be done by international society, by make the Americans follow the international law and to understand, as a superpower country, your duty not to ignore the international law, not to support genocide, not support the criminal action by Israelis, but your duty is to keep the international security, to keep the justice for all humanity, and make all human beings believe in the just and justice of the international law, of international organization. All we're going to go for more and more circle of violence, more and more circle of blood, not only in Palestine but in all the world.
You talk of circle of violence, a circle of blood. Let's also talk about the circle of genocide that is happening in Palestine as we speak. Amnesty International issues a statement very recently saying that Israel must end its brutal occupation of Palestine to stop fueling apartheid and systemic human rights violation. So many statements have been made by different organizations, sometimes by different countries such as Brazil. But are such statements enough? What should be the next step as far as human rights violations, apartheid and genocide is concerned?
Next step, we need all the human beings, all our brothers and sisters in humanity, to be united against two: Israelis' occupation and Americans' support for the Israelis. You see, Americans right now speak about two-state solution. On the other hand, they are not explain, they make it mysterious solution. They don't explain what kind of border of this two-state solution. They accept Jerusalem as the capital of the state of Palestine according to international resolutions or not. They don't speak about the right of return of the Palestinian refugees. So, if they are going to be the borders according to borders of before 1967, according to 242 resolution, or according to 181 resolution in 1947, which speak that one, the first one, 242, speak about 22% of the historical land of Palestine. 181 resolution speak about 44% of the land of Palestine for the Palestinians, or who going to giving giving rebirth for the deal of the Senate would give the Palestinians only 12% of the land of Palestine and recognizing Jerusalem as a capital of the Israelis. This is the question for the Americans. This needs to be cleared. They are going to follow the international law, or they're going to follow their own opinion by supporting apartheid system by Israelis.
All right, let's also talk about famine. We are seeing the different sit-ins that are happening by Israelis in front of the different border crossings, for example, with Egypt at the Zana border crossing, to prevent aid entering the Gaza Strip. UNRWA says Israel has blocked half of its aid missions to northern Gaza since the beginning of the year. The United Nations also warns that hundreds of thousands of people in Gaza are on the brink of starvation. Is famine being used as a weapon of war here in Palestine?
For sure, indeed. Actually, because the Israelis' plan is, transfer Palestinians, people who are living in Gaza, outside of Gaza. We discussed that before in your honorable show. The Israelis' plan is to transfer 2.3 million Palestinians outside of Gaza to reoccupy the Gaza Strip and become part of the Israeli territories, part of the Israeli state. This is the plan. If they succeed in that, the next step, according to that, they damage 80% of the buildings in Gaza, destroy all the infrastructure in Gaza, destroy most of the schools, most of the universities, and destroy many of hospitals and clinics in Gaza, which means in the end of the war, people will not have the ability to come back to their normal life because there is nowhere to live, no resources to support their living in Gaza. There's no schools, no universities, no hospitals, and no way to have any income because they destroy all the, banks, institute, all the shops, all the commercial areas, which means they give you, later on the people have two options: live for long years without home, without work, without job, without food, or going to transfer themselves outside of Gaza, looking for better life outside of Gaza. This is the Israelis' plan. And if they succeed in that, they're going to transfer the Palestinians who are living in the West Bank. We speak about 3 million Palestinians living in the West Bank. And going to transfer people who are living include, of course, Jerusalem. Later on, if they succeed in that, they're going to even transfer the Palestinians who are holding Israeli citizens. Because Israel was establishing with a huge lie that Palestine land, it is a land without people, for people without a land, which is, it is for, become only for the Jew. This is what the Israelis plan. And if they are succeed of that, this is going to be the future of our territory. Greater Israel. This is what the Israelis plan. To occupy 100% of Palestine, 100% of Lebanon, 100% of Jordan, 100% of Kuwait, 75% of Syria, 45% of Saudi Arabia, 45% of Iraq, 35% of Egypt, and going to occupy part of Turkey, okay, and as I mentioned, whole of Kuwait and whole of Lebanon, which means we have a greater Israel, which means if we are key, and to end and damage all this devil plans, start from damage their plans in Gaza by supporting end of genocide in Gaza, by supporting the establishing of the independent state of Palestine with Jerusalem at its capital, by supporting the right of return of Palestinian refugees to their own home according to 194 resolution, or this is going to be the future, and then everyone in the world who going to make his own greater state and ignoring the international law, ignoring the historical rights of the other nations, and this is going to be more and more cycle of blood and cycle of violence, not only in our region, it's going to be in all the world.
Let's hope, Nader Alturk, that this does not happen and we don't go to this stage. Before that, let's come also to Rafah, because this is a very huge issue as far as the Palestinians, the 1.5 million Palestinians that are crammed is a small area that used to be an area of peace for the refugees, but now it is with all the Palestinians that have come from different parts of Gaza and are crammed in this small area. Different countries, Germany, France, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Turkey, Egypt, have called on Israel to stop the offensive in Rafah. The Belgian foreign minister has very recently taken out a statement and said that the city of Rafah must be spared and any large-scale Israeli military operation. Israel says that if the hostages, the quote-unquote hostages, are not returned to it by Ramadan next month, it's going to start its ground offensive in Rafah during the holy month of Ramadan. What are you foreseeing? What do you think is going to happen in the next couple of days? Do you feel that Israel can be stopped from this ground offensive in Rafah one way or the other?
First of all, we need to ask ourselves what's the difference of genocide today and genocide in Ramadan? Genocide, it is genocide. Killing other people, civilian people, children, women, old people, they are do nothing only because they are Palestinian. This is, what is the difference? If is that happening today, yesterday, or happening during Ramadan? It is the same.
Of course.
Still, criminal, it is a criminal. What is the timing? So, we have a lot of nice speech from many Western countries, from the Americans, but actually, the Americans just a few days before, they decide to support Israelis and supply for them weapons, bombs, Jadam bombs, more about 1,000 Jadam bombs. It's going to be used against Rafah, going to be used. Okay, which means they are giving to, in the one hand, they give you a nice speech, but their action and their practice on the ground, they blindly support the Israelis and supply more and more weapons for them to kill more and more Palestinians, which means they are not doing any action on the ground to end this genocide, to end this ethnic cleansing for the Palestinians, to end this crimes against humanity. So we need more active, better than have more good words.
All right. Also, I'd like to understand at least 107 Palestinians have been killed. This is something that happens every day. Per day, at least 100 plus people are killed in Palestine, across Gaza, everywhere. The current death toll is more than 29,000. The current toll of people who've been injured has exceeded 69,000. What happens to the rest of the Palestinians? What is going to be their fate in the next couple of weeks? Secondly, I'd also like to add to that there has been a report by the Washington Post that talks about Joe Biden's administration along with a certain group of Arab nations, without naming those nations, working on a comprehensive peace plan which includes a timeline for the establishment of a Palestinian state. But of course, it has been negated by Netanyahu. What's very interesting is that in all of these meetings, there is the like, for example, the meeting that is currently happening as we speak, the Israeli president is there, but the prime minister is not there. Is there also going to be a change in Israeli politics? A. B. Is that going to affect the current genocide in Palestine? Could we see a ray of light at the end of the tunnel due to these peace talks or due to these the negotiations that are happening between important countries across the world? What is the future of the Middle East? What is the future of Palestine?
First, I need to explain one thing. The president of Israel, actually, he is like the king of Britain. He don't have any authorities.
Okay.
The real authority between the hands of the prime minister. Second, what is happening in the future, this is going to be one of the solutions, this map, or we have other two options. We need to have the power to insist the Israelis to follow the international law, follow the international resolutions, respect their neighbors, respect the life of other human beings, looking for others as a human beings and are not the elite and the only human beings in the world and others only animals, according to what they are mentioned before, the Israelis leadership. This is second. Third, we have other two options. We have state of Palestine, two ways to state of Palestine. One solution is two-state according to borders before 1967 or following the 181 resolution as the borders. Second, we have the scenario or the model of South of Africa. We are speaking about Israelis are having apartheid system similar to what happened in South Africa before.
Okay.
And actually we have the same things. There are settlers came from Europe, occupied our homeland and become leading our homeland. That happened before in the model of South Africa. South Africa leader on the white settlers, the European settlers, recognize, start to understand that the colored people have equal rights and establish, and Nelson Mandela become a president of the state and lead the state for stability and cooperate between the two parties, the white people and the colored people, and become equal parties as equally human beings. So we have two scenarios, two-state solution or one-state solution by ending the apartheid system, by Israel's apartheid system. And this is right now the ball in the Israelis' side to decide what kind of things they want. They want this or want two-state solution or want one-state solution.
All right. Well, let's see what happens. If I was to just ask you just one small, 3 words, would you be wanting a two-state or a one-state solution?
Actually, Israel is working hard to destroy the two-state solution. Since Netanyahu, not only Netanyahu, when we go to Madrid conference, and Ishaq Shamir was the Prime Minister of Israel, he said, I will negotiate with the Palestinians 20 years and will give them nothing. So we are right now, since 1991 until now, it is about 40 years, and we get nothing.
All right.
So according to that, Israel is destroyed in all the power they have between their hands, the two-state solution. And again, I told you, there is 3 options.
Yes.
This option,
or the two-state
solution, or one-state solution by ending the apartheid system with Israeli system.
All right. Thank you so very much, Nader Alturk, to have joined us, to have come all the way to the studios to talk about the options that are present in front of the world as far as the future of Palestine is concerned.
And we are waiting for the support from all the human beings, all our brothers and sisters in humanity, not only Muslim Ummah, by end the occupation and giving the opportunity for us as a human being to have our freedom, our independent state with Jerusalem's capital.
Inshallah, this is what we will see in the coming weeks and months. We will have Pakistan's support anytime, any place, and you know that.
We are sure about that. Jazakallah.